Active FM. Radio has never been better.
What is up?
Hey guys, how you doing over there?
This is the movie show.
On your favorite ORSPS. Yes, saying it slowly does help me pronounce it nicely.
That is Active FM.
On
Active FM.
With your hosts.
I am Sash.
And my name is... Hi, I'm Ryan. I had to go a bit higher there.
Wow.
Didn't sound right just to match the epic voice. So it sounds like there's three people talking.
And today we are discussing how would one survive a bear attack. Very difficult thing. Everyone is going to go through this in their life. They need to know.
Yeah.
They need to know.
So in other words, if you haven't gone through one, you will go through one at least sometime in your life.
I actually really hope you don't go through one. Like I
haven't gone through one.
I haven't.
Have you gone through one?
No. So we don't know how to survive one. But apparently there is a way to survive.
Step one.
Shockingly enough. Okay, there's 4 simple steps, right? Or 4 options you have. They're easy. They're easy to remember. 4, I think in a time of crisis like that, when the bear's staring at you in the face, these 4 things need to go.
That's the bear.
Thanks, right?
That's what you hear.
These 4 things need to pop into your mind.
We're putting people in the room. You understand?
Yeah. There we go. So the bear is doing this.
We're programming you to already be in the moment.
There we go.
And we're hoping that the will trigger the... Oh, yes, step 1.
Step 1. Okay, step number 1. Carry bear spray. Yeah, apparently there is bear spray.
Oh,
I did not know that.
Where do you get that?
So experts...
Amazon?
I have no idea.
Take a lot?
I don't know. So experts recommend that hikers in bear country carry with them bear pepper spray. UDAP bear spray is highly concentrated spray that creates a large cloud. This stuff will usually stop a bear in its tracks. I hope it doesn't harm the bear though, because that would be sad.
I think in the moment I don't care.
Okay, but that's difficult because like you could forget your bear spray at home, or you could forget to buy bear spray.
It creates a cloud.
Yeah, apparently it creates...
What if I don't know where I'm going? Or do I just and then stand still?
I don't know. I think maybe because then the cloud... I don't know. They didn't really give a lot of info on this one.
I'm sure it's on the can.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
True. Very true.
Next
okay,
step.
Number 2. This one you don't need to buy anything for. Do not run. Yes, I just said that. Don't run. When you run, the bear thinks you're prey and will continue chasing you. Don't think you can outrun a bear. They can reach speeds of 30 miles per hour. So stand your ground.
It's about 70 k's an hour.
That's very fast.
No. Sorry, it's less. It's about 15. Yeah.
But still.
That's fast.
That is fast. So don't run. I know everyone wants to run, but do not run. Okay, step number 3. Drop to the ground in the fetal position and cover the back of your neck with your hands.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Why? Oh, I have the... Sorry. Okay, I don't know if they explain why.
I think the bear thinks that you're done, you're finished. In other words, they...
Why are your hands on the back of your neck?
Because they can scratch. Yeah, they can scratch.
Oh, is that the only
And that's the most vulnerable part.
So if you don't have bear spray or the bear continues to charge even after the spray, this is your next best defense. Hit the ground immediately and curl into the fetal position.
And don't cry.
Do not cry. Lastly, number 4.
Oh, there's 4. Cool.
Play dead.
See?
Grizzlies will stop attacking when they feel there is no longer a threat. If they think you're dead, they won't think you're threatening. Once the bear is done tossing you around and leaves, continue to play dead. Grizzlies are known for waiting around to see if their victim will get back up. Oh, that's freaky.
That makes so much sense.
That's scary.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Wow. Okay. I'm sure we've saved lives right now.
You're welcome. Okay, you're probably thinking, what on earth? I thought I was listening to the movie show.
Yeah.
You are.
All right.
And there's a movie that has a full-blown bear attack in it. And it is intense. They show you everything. They don't even hide nothing from you.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliantly...
I have to admit.
Horrific. So it is the film called The Revenant.
Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy... Yeah?
Tom Hardy, hey?
Tom Hardy.
How crazy.
I hated him, and I don't hate Tom Hardy. I hated him. I was like, this guy needs to die. This guy needs to seriously just die.
I was listening to a podcast by a guy called, and his name just left my mind. But basically Andrew Price, the blender guru. If anybody knows him, yeah, everyone's going yeah. And he was introducing a guy called Clint, who used to work at Corridor Crew. He's got his own channel. But anyway, and they were talking about CG in general, and then they went on to the topic of movies, like good movies. And what they said was like movies today are just fine, and that's how every movie is. And then they started discussing certain films that really stuck out from. Now this was the one film, and they spoke about the bear attack. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool. And then I saw, it's available. Oh, we can watch it. 2015. And the other one was Top Gun, the new Top Gun.
Really?
Because apparently, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Like they do everything for real. But that'll be in a future show when it gets released. If it's not, I don't think it's
the
released
only thing
yet.
I'm nervous about, honestly, with that one is that film has been delayed since 2020. In fact, recently we went to watch a movie in cinemas. They played the trailer for it. And 2022, I'm talking about 2022, yeah. We were sitting in the cinema in 2022. The trailer plays, and at the end of the trailer, it had 2020. I was like, why didn't they update the trailer?
Oh, wow.
It's not 2020. It hasn't come out.
Right.
It's 2022 and we're still waiting for it. So that's the only thing I'm like, what? Because obviously I understand 2020's delay.
Yeah.
Like that I get. But
The
it
whole
could
of
have come out in
2020's
2021.
I think somebody played the wrong. Somebody forgot to delete that. They did get updated.
Are you sure?
Yeah, must have.
Yeah, it was like, okay.
But anyway, so this film, specifically the CG, because the bear was full CG. And I mean, I don't know about you, but my experience with this film was, okay, the story was a sad story. Well, not a sad story.
The story was quite basic, actually.
It was a very basic story.
It was a revenge story.
But what I loved about this film is the way it was told.
Yeah.
The cinematography, the directing behind it was just like absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember watching this film, and at the moment in the southern hemisphere, we're in winter. And I remember I watched in my bed with a single blanket, and I was getting a bit cold. And I was actually okay because I was in the film, like I was so in the film.
Feel you.
And then when I remember like watching the movie finished, and then I put the warm blanket, and I was like, this is so good. But really, this movie, like the way the camera technique, the way like I love the lens that they used. And there were a lot of one-shotters, which actually weren't one-shotters.
Yeah.
This is the crazy thing about this film. But how did you feel about even the fact that, in a way, they broke the fourth wall in this film? Because the camera's lens would messed up, like with the bear.
Yes.
There were times when blood like splattered on the... technically there shouldn't be any lens there, technically, but it was. But
once even Leonardo DiCaprio like breathed out, and obviously it was so cold that you could see the breath,
mist.
and that also misted up the camera.
That's it. And there was also this. I loved the fact. Now, I didn't do research on the type of lens that they used, but I can tell you now they would have used a lot more of a wider lens. Because everything felt big. Like their hands, you could see like the detail on their hands, the face. Everything was just like wow, and like it was really. But the director apparently is like an award winning. He's one of those directors that really stick out. I don't think I've watched any of the other films, which I would actually like to have a look at.
Yeah, after
and look
this
into
one,
that because it was a very abnormal way of filming, but it was in a way to tell the story and to really put the viewer within the story.
And it was a very difficult way of filming, actually. And the director, they could have done this film easy. They could have been in a green screen studio, fake snow, big fans,
Exactly.
But they didn't do that. They went and filmed on location, and where they filmed, apparently it was extremely difficult for both the cast and the crew to get there to film. And they were literally, the conditions you see in the film are the conditions that they filmed in. So it's not like they added snow or, do you understand what I'm saying?
I actually saw behind the scenes where they were busy applying Leonardo's makeup, but they also had that like silver warm blanket so that he doesn't get, obviously, so he can stay warm and so because he was obviously in costume, so which means that his body was probably it was, what is that word? Like there were parts that were open, that were exposed. And they couldn't now clothe it up again because he's in costume, and so they had to cover it up because apparently it took like 4 hours to apply the makeup.
But can we talk about the makeup? The makeup was insanely
brilliant.
brilliant. Oh my goodness. The scene that got me, oh my goodness, was when he gets, spoiler alert, he gets attacked by a bear, but he gets, as in like, he shouldn't be alive after that. Like literally, it's so bad. It is so bad.
And he did do what we said. I mean, he was laying still, literally.
The only thing I think he did that was a problem was he shot the bear.
Yeah, because it was off.
Because when he
before that, he was like, okay.
Yeah, and it like left him. I think maybe if he just like lay there, and then like he'd already been hurt.
Yeah.
But like if he just lay
I think
there,
his foot
maybe
was broken at that point.
Oh, that was intense. Oh my word! I was like, and that was makeup as well. Hey, like they literally show you that they have the behind the scenes footage, and they have the foot. It's obviously like a prosthetic foot or whatever.
That.
You see, like
it was good. The way it hung.
No, that was the way it was dislocated and But the scene that really got me with the makeup was when he's by himself and he goes to the river to drink water, and his neck's actually open. It's been ripped open, and as he drinks water, the water goes and seeps through the wound. So now the wound starts dripping with blood. Oh my goodness. I was just like, his neck is bleeding. Well, his neck is dripping water.
Yeah.
No, that was... Literally, at some points in the film, I literally was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to see this. It was that, it's that, okay, if you're a sensitive viewer, don't watch this movie because it doesn't hide anything.
It really puts you in like...
even like the fight at the end with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy, oh my goodness, and it's gory, and it's not like a Quentin Tarantino gory, because his gory is sometimes like an over dramatized gory. This for me was very realistic. Like I think this is actually what would happen, because I think we're used to, like, we see wounds in movies, and like obviously it's what's been depicted to us. So sometimes they do it not as much so that like children can watch the film, or they there's a certain sensitivity with the matter that they don't show everything. This one, they didn't do that. They literally just,
they were very detailed.
It was
on
real
specifics.
life. It was. I literally sat there and was like, I'm so glad I wasn't alive in this time. Like, honestly, I'm so grateful I did, because it was so brutal. It was so, like, everyone, and I know that the Indians, so this whole story is about them basically taking over America, and you had the native Indians who they called savages, and then you had the French and the British, etc., but everyone was savage. It wasn't, I know they called the Indians savages.
Even amongst friends, they were like,
they were all savage. They were just, it was just, oh my goodness.
I was even at a point confused, because I mean, they're in the wilderness, so it's like anything goes for survival type of thing. And then there's a part when he gets back to almost like base, like camp type of thing. And that's a spoiler alert. Sorry about that. And then suddenly there's like rules in place. No, we have to go out and go get him and arrest him. He did something wrong. And I'm like, like, why should you obey the rules? And I think that's why I ran. But yeah.
I also, what I also actually liked about the film? It wasn't like a movie. It was like real life. I don't know how to word this. So how in a movie when like, so I'll give you an example. At one point, Leonardo DiCaprio's character saves one of the Indians' daughters. And, at that point, you then feel like he then gets chased by the same Indians afterwards. And you feel like in the movie, the girl should show up and then all the Indians stop. And then she's like, no, don't touch him. Do you understand what I'm saying? He looked after me.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. He goes flying off a cliff with a horse. I was like, okay. And then only at the end of the film do you see like the Indians come back, and then she's riding on the horse, so she's okay. She like joined her tribe again. Yeah, that was her.
I didn't even pick that up.
I think that's why they didn't
Maybe
touch him.
that's why they went past.
But they didn't. It's not like they were like, come join our tribe. They just rode past. They like just left it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I was wondering about that. I thought maybe because weren't they looking for Tom Hardy's character?
Why were they looking for him though?
Because there was something with his daughter, the chief or whatever, his daughter.
But he didn't take her.
Look, I wasn't. You see, it's that thing.
The French took her.
So it was the French.
The French took her. Yeah.
Got
so
it.
he was working with the French to try and find his daughter, but the French actually had. Yeah. So I think
maybe she said. So he probably clicked. He was like, when he saw the daughter, it was like, oh shoot, oh wow, okay, cool.
Yeah. But then, like, how in films often they romanticize, and I don't even mean like romanticize as in like girl guy. I mean as in like he'll then go join the Indian tribe and he becomes an Indian, and then he shows up one day, and it wasn't like that. It really was like real life. Like,
Yeah.
this is what would have probably happened in those. Like, it was if you ever wanted to know what America was like at that time, this film is a brilliant depiction. And we don't have a lot of films actually that depict
Leonardo
America
actually
at this
said
time.
that. He said you don't see a lot of films that base on what happened in America at that time.
This was the 1800s. So 1800
Wow.
America, that whole but oh my goodness.
That was
It
that
was
was hectic.
intense.
That was hectic. So, if you thought that there wasn't much CG in this film, because I heard about the bear attack and I'm like, wow, because I mean that's what I said. We've got to see this film. Apparently, the CG is really brilliant. I never realized how much CG there was in this film because it actually doesn't look like there's any CG in it. You can imagine, okay, maybe the bear, but maybe that's a tame bear because it was really, really good.
No, it
All
was
right?
insane. The bear
So-
was insane.
Every arrow you saw in the film
Was CG.
was CG. They did that, and it makes sense, right?
I suppose it does make
Because those
sense,
arrows
yeah.
were like on point. Obviously, they would have done it for safety for safety
of actors.
purposes. There were a lot of enhancements that were done on it, and then there was something called shape shifting, which was done. You see, Leonardo's body apparently was, for someone who had been out that long, their body would have gotten.
Yeah.
He would have lost a lot of weight.
Because he also wasn't eating.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So they did something that's called shapeshift. Now the companies that were involved was ILM, which we all know. Like, yay!
Woo.
There's a studio called Gradient Effects. Those two were basically the two big studios that were involved, and then they had two other companies, NPC, which and Cinesight. Now all three of these companies, in fact, all four of them, have been involved in a lot of the Marvel movies. I think, like I said in one show, like almost every VFX studio is involved in like every Marvel movie that you see, because they join together. But there's apparently this thing that they had developed by a studio called Secret Lab. I mean, essentially, you know the whole procedure of VFX. When you have to do something on one frame, you then have to start again on the next frame. They, with Leonardo's body, what they had done was they actually had this cool software where it literally tracks. It's almost like AI technology. So in fact, it probably is, but they would take one frame. It would pick up the movement of an actor's body. They would then be able to move, basically manipulate his body. So, for example, they would have to have brought it down, make it skinnier, thinner, brought the shoulders down. And then what that would do, so what it does is it analyzes the body's motion, how the body moves, how the skin stretches, and it creates data off that. And basically, it's like motion capture, but just off a film.
It's insane.
It's crazy. And then what they do is they adjust one frame, they reshape his body in one frame, and then what it does is it runs through and it adjusts the rest of the frames. So that was something that they actually did here with Leonardo's body to make him look a lot more like thinner, skinnier.
Can I ask a question though? Maybe it also was because obviously it's winter, so like a lot of the time he was wearing the bear. They took the bear skin and made a coat out of it, or
Kept him
whatever.
warm.
Yeah. So obviously that would add. Almost like it would make him look bigger than he is,
Yeah.
obviously. But I personally felt like, I don't know if you feel me, like he wasn't skinny enough.
No.
Like he would
No, I
have
agree.
he would have been because I don't think he'd eaten because his neck was open.
He had eaten smaller little
Yes.
bits of stuff.
And he was especially
Yeah.
like after he got up and started walking and that, I mean, he was walking, like he was moving across like kilometers
Yeah.
of terrain and going through
would have
things
lost a lot
and
of-
and also when it's cold, your metabolism works faster to
That's
try
true.
and warm you up, which means your body actually is going to get rid of the food faster in a way,
Yeah.
and then we'll obviously start looking for like the other fat in your body to try and like
Even at your eyeballs. So
so I feel like he should have
been a lot more skinnier.
yeah, like he should have. Like the makeup, maybe also that's the problem, is he had like prosthetic makeup on for the wounds. Like maybe they wanted to focus more on the wounds than his physique. But I just feel like he should have been skinnier.
should have been skinnier.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
And I feel like that's difficult to do from like a CG. Well, I suppose they did it with Chris Evans.
They did it.
Yeah.
So it should have been a lot more skinnier.
Yeah. I don't know if he should have lost the weight or if they should. I don't know.
What I will say is, if you look at the before and after shots, they did, because Leonardo is actually quite buff.
Yeah.
He's actually quite. I was just like, damn, dude, picking on the pounds there, man. What's going on? But they definitely do. Yeah, they did some work there. Something else is that the battle sequence in the beginning.
That sequence was insane.
They
Please tell me that the horse was traumatizing when they shot the horse.
the horse was obviously most of the animals were CG. Obviously, they didn't shoot any animals.
Yeah.
No animals were armed.
Okay, can
in the
I
making.
just say though? Can I just say, if you are a sensitive soul, don't watch this
I was
movie.
thinking about that. I was watching. I'm like,
When they literally shot a horse. I was just like,
yeah. Like I was just walking around.
why did he even do that? I was just like, what is happening? What on earth?
I think he was wiping out the horses so the Indians don't get.
But still,
Don't get their horse.
I was traumatized. I was just like, these people are mad. These
Especially the horse that went with him over the cliff
that
as well.
one. But then when he cuts, so obviously shame, the horse that went over the cliff, that was horrible. But the fall killed the
Yeah.
horse. So,
Yeah.
and then I obviously understand.
At that point, I was like, oh no, here we go again. His probably legs are broken. He's going to start again. I'm like, please don't tell me.
Yeah, surprisingly, he was
Yeah.
fine. Shame. And then I know, like, he cut open the horse, and I think that would have traumatized people. But
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it out of cruelty. He was doing it out of staying
survival.
alive, and he wouldn't have done it if the horse wasn't dead. So,
Yeah.
like, for me, but still.
It had to be done.
But imagine sleeping in the dead carcass of a horse.
Oy, I can't smell too good, huh? Yeah.
I was really glad there that films don't come with a smell thing, like.
I don't want to smell that.
Like, I was like, nope, I'm really glad that we don't smell movies.
No, definitely. But that beginning battle scene, they had to shoot every day around the same time. For 2 weeks, they shot that whole battle scene. But what happened was that because now you've got alterations in weather, alterations in sun, they had to use CG to remove any changes within the scene. So whether there was sunlight somewhere. Not only that, but that whole battle scene, I didn't even notice it was like a one-shotter.
Yes, it was insane.
So that was multiple shots
Yeah.
that they then had to blend together and sort of photo stitch together to get it that it was basically one whole shot. Obviously, the bear was fully CG. The very tricky part about that bear scene is the interaction between them two,
and it's brilliant.
which would have, and it felt complete. Obviously, the cubs were CG as well.
I think one of the things, and I know when watching Corridor Digital, they said this, is one of the things that helps is you actually see like the bear moving him around, and the camera actually like follows him as he's being. Obviously, he was stitched up to wires, and then there was a dude in a blue suit that had bare arms. That's what the VFX artist said. It was like, okay, that he obviously interacted so that they could just pick up like motion and movements. But Leonardo DiCaprio was moved around by the wires, and then they obviously put the bear in, and they did choreograph it because like his movements would have been affected by the bear, and they needed to know the bear's movements, and so it was like carefully choreographed. And but
in the CG world, the biggest thing is basically reference. If you can get reference, you can work with the reference. And apparently they took reference from a bear attacking a drunken man in a German zoo as reference. And then from that, they began to work with the stunt team, and
that's insane. Imagine going to work every day and watch a bear attack a man.
And it makes sense because if you watch the reference footage, and they like put that whole mosaic, where you can't see what's happening, but you watch the film, how the bear attacked, and you watch that, you can see how they got it very realistic. I mean, it was really, really good.
The film is brilliant. It's intense.
It's not for sensitive
It's an
viewers.
intense film.
Yeah.
It's literally like at the end, in the middle of it, I was literally thinking, I don't want to watch this. Not because it was ugly or bad, or it was just because it was so intense and so graphic. And by the end of the film, I was like, sure, it was a good film. It's a good film. It is a good film, but it's very intense. It's like they don't hide anything.
I just got to the point when I think after they left him, and then he started sort of crawling, and I saw he was starting to survive. At that point, I thought, look, it can't get any worse. It's dead or live. And then I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Yes, okay, he survived. And then he got to the part of the country where it's like sunny and stuff. I'm like, yes. And then he falls in the river and he goes all the way back down to like the coldest part. I'm like, no.
But I feel like
Why?
the river helped him because like it got him. Do you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like crawling. It wasn't like energy. Obviously,
he
he just
learned
had
how to swim a lot more.
Yes, and I know
He got
like
cleaned up.
swimming has, but swimming also, like when people have injuries, like swimming is a part of like the process of healing and like teaching your body
Like
to
therapy.
yeah, like physical
Yeah.
therapy type of thing.
Wow.
So I was like, but you know what got me was when Tom Hardy, I hated Tom Hardy, and I love Tom Hardy.
He did well.
I love Tom
Yeah.
Hardy. I hated him in this film.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude, he's horrible.
What's wrong with you?
He's a brilliant actor, but the scene where he basically says to Leonardo DiCaprio, you want to go, let me make it easy for
Blink.
you, I'll strangle, and then he says, just blink if you, I'm like, I literally tried to keep
All
my
you
eyes
gotta do is
open.
blink.
Like, and he actually, Leonardo DiCaprio kept his eyes open for so
trying.
long. I was like, and then he still
Now
shame me,
just
blinked
blink.
so slowly. But I was just like, seriously, you're going to tell someone to blink? That's like telling them to breathe. And then you'll do. I was just
Yeah.
like, really?
I think that was I think he wanted, because
That was the point.
was it? He also initiated the first time, right? When they were trying to get it. What was it? Him?
Yes.
He basically said, just close his eyes, cover his eyes, okay. And then that, yeah.
No,
So
it was intense.
he wanted him. I must say, Leonardo DiCaprio in this film.
This is
He's
acting.
acting.
When the way he speaks.
He was brilliant.
He was good.
This was definitely acting at another level. Yeah. Like you said, even the way he. Yes,
It was even.
It was
Shay,
good.
it was. Your heart breaks for him. You're
Yeah.
just like. So, just to give you some filming info, so they shot this chronologically, which I thought was pretty cool. So that means that normally what they do is they'll shoot sometimes the last scene first. They'll shoot depending on like location or whatever.
Yeah.
This one they actually shot from beginning of the film to the end of the film on an 80-day schedule that took place over a total principal photography time period of 9 months. They filmed this movie for 9
In that
months.
weather.
In those
And it was
conditions.
mostly snowy, eh?
They literally were in winter for 9 months.
Shame.
This is unusually long production time, and it was due to the cold weather condition,
Yeah.
the remoteness of the locations, and the director and cinematographer's aesthetic plan to shoot only with natural lights for maximum realism.
That's
Only
it.
a few shooting hours, this is also crazy, only a few shooting hours were available every day, because when it's winter like that, you don't get a lot of sunlight, and they had to carefully plan all of the days in advance, and they only got a certain amount of time every day to film. And then the production actually did also fall behind on schedule. As a result, the snow melted during the location shoots in Canada before filming was complete. And so, with summer rapidly approaching, there was no choice but to relocate the entire production to southern Argentina. Canada, Argentina, that's like very far, which there were similar wintry conditions. So the filming, I would honestly have hated to be on set of this film. Like this was intense.
Although think about it, if they were only filming for a little bit every day, at least that gave them
I
a lot of
suppose,
recovery and a lot of time to.
Although that's a long shoot,
is a
Ryan.
long time,
9
though.
months of.
So you're away from your family, you're away from your home for a whole 9 months.
And then this is insane. So at one point in the film, this I didn't get. I honestly didn't get this part. You know when that Shamie met that other what was the
Yeah,
whatever
that
they weren't Indian. The Indian, or maybe they were a tribe,
Oh, I
because they were the
didn't-
Rees, which was the tribe that they were running away from, and then there were other. Maybe it was just a tribe difference. But he
Probably.
met another guy, and this guy had basically gotten wolves away from killing what are those animals
Buffalo.
called? Bison, a bison.
Oh,
And then there's fire. Like there's fire everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude then eats the thing raw. I was like, you literally just have to put it on a stick and hold it for 5 minutes over the fire and it's cooked.
they eat the liver.
Ah!
Interesting fact.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but this is the gross part. So Leonardo DiCaprio chose, right, to devour a raw slab of bison's liver. As
Yes.
in, what he ate in the film was not a cute
So do
little.
you think when he was choked, when he was going
Yeah.
the first time,
Yeah.
that was really him?
Yes, even though he's vegetarian. And he actually said he regretted doing it afterwards. But the problem was the other guy was eating the liver raw. So he'd see, and they'd been shooting the whole day. When he then saw what the prop department had created, he was like, no, it doesn't look real. So he decided then to eat the actual liver. But he actually said that he regretted it. He also had to learn to shoot a musket, build a fire, speak 2 Native American languages, and study with a doctor who specializes in ancient healing techniques. And he said it was the hardest performance of his career.
Oh, wow. But it was.
And you know, he gave up playing,
Sure.
I think Steve Jobs in the Steve Jobs movie. I think it was Steve Jobs. He gave that up for this film.
Good choice.
Yeah, shame.
Definitely.
And then last fact. So according to Tom Hardy, Leonardo DiCaprio bet that Hardy would get nominated for an Oscar for his role. The wager was that the loser would be forced to get a tattoo of the winner's choice. It turned out that DiCaprio was right, and a choice of tattoo was a hand-scribed Leo Knows All by DiCaprio. So Tom Hardy has a tattoo
Somewhere.
that was hand-scribed by Leonardo DiCaprio that says Leo Knows All on his body.
Oh, what a fun fact.
Right?
Sure. Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
That is interesting. It was a good film. I don't know if you should go watch it.
The way the story, I would watch it again. The way the story was told for me was, but the type of lens they used, the camera angles that they used, you felt, and you, because I mean, the thing about the bear tag, how a normal fine film would have put it.
Yeah, true. It would have been cute and sensitive.
It would probably be like you see the bear, then maybe some POV, and then the bear like gets shot, and then like long shot, it falls over there, and then eventually they find him, and then next one pop, and then you see him in bandages. He's not gonna survive through the summer, and then they can. But yeah, you saw the detail, like it was.
And when he was breathing and the bear was sniffing, oh my goodness!
Good.
Yeah, no, it was
the close up, and you saw like the way the chunks of meat was missing on his fingers.
Oh no, that was
Hey? I mean, every time he like picked himself up, I was like, like, aren't your hands sore? Stuff your leg, dude. Your hands, So really, as a viewer, and I'm not saying, I wouldn't say it's like watching a real car accident. So it was gruesome, but I would say, I wouldn't say that they overstepped the line. Right?
I just feel like they showed it like it is. And they just showed it like this is how it lit. Guys, if you were in a bear attack, this is exactly how it would go down.
Yeah.
This is it. So there wasn't any, like, I feel like if a good example is the car accidents, they wouldn't, you know how like with car accidents sometimes they film it in such a way where, you know, like you see the thing in the car hit and then lights go out and
that's
then the
body falls out.
They would have shown you everything, which can be quite traumatic. I think that's why I'm saying this film is. I'd be interested to actually see the rating, the age restriction on the film, just because I think it could be very traumatic to people.
Yeah, a lot of people would have found it.
I don't think, and even like, so his son gets killed. I think for people who have lost people, that
made it even worse.
It wasn't. It's not a feel good film. It's
and you couldn't
definitely
do
not a feel good.
You could just lay there and.
It's one of those films where you're literally like, I'm so grateful for my life.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's where the film took me.
I did.
I was like, I have nothing to be upset about. There is nothing I must be grateful for.
When I was finished the movie, I went and tucked my boys in, made sure they were extra tight. I'm like, I'm so glad. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's one of those movies that makes you reflect about how good your life is.
Yeah.
Your life cannot be worse than this film.
I just thought, man, if watching this film shows you that if you can pursue through life, you can make it. You just have to push
maybe
through.
if you're depressed, you should watch the film just to, like lift your spirits and realize life's not that bad. Life's actually pretty good. I haven't been attacked by a bear. I haven't been told to blink if I want to live.
Crawl. And what? He crawled something. I mean, he crawled miles, guys.
Poor Leonardo.
Broken foot. His foot is dragging behind it.
No, this thing, oh my goodness. I was just like, wow.
And it was based on true events, wasn't it?
Yes, except he didn't have, so the real Glass, I forgot I think it was Hugh Glass.
I didn't even know what his name was, by the way.
I just remember Glass, but I think his first name was Hugh. He apparently didn't have a wife and a son, so I don't think that was true.
Oh, is that all?
But I don't know. I think the bear attack happened.
Everything, well, I mean, if you think about it, the whole story was
around the bear attack.
It's the bear attack which just stuffed everything up.
This guy was amazing.
It's the bear attack that stuffed everything up. Yeah. And I mean, I kept thinking to myself, like, is there something that makes this guy good? Is he a good hunter? No. Is he good at no?
The fact that he was there I was just like, why did you go there? Why were you there?
Yeah. There's nothing that you can say, oh, this guy's a brilliant tracker, or he's such a good, he knows animals. So nothing. He was just there and
you just lived.
Yeah. Finished. At least you know now. Don't reach for your gun. Just lay dead. Over Red Rover. Yeah. And if you see cubs, just lay down in the fetal position.
Yeah, don't even look for the mother.
That's actually what he should have, because didn't he see the cubs before the mother bear?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, people. Where there's cubs, There's a mother bear.
Shame, but I felt so sorry when the bear attack was terrible, but obviously the bear was just doing what the bear thought. Like, the bear wasn't evil. The bear was just protecting its cubs,
Yeah.
right? So you can't even like demonize the bear. But like when the cubs, because the mother bear dies, and then the cubs come and look for the mom,
Yeah.
and I was finished. I was just like, you know what? This movie's horrible. That was the point. I was like, why am I watching this? And then I had to finish it. I was like, I have to finish this for the movie
Yeah,
show.
my wife also looked. She's like, "Are you enjoying this? Eh? Are you enjoying this?" And then she just like rolled over, went to bed. I'm like, I was like, but I have to watch this.
So you see, guys, what we do we put ourselves through trauma for the movie show.
But it was a brilliant film, though.
Yeah, when you
Well
get to the
told.
end, you're like,
Yes. If you want to know how you should tell a story, look at this. I think the filmmaking part was done so well.
because the story was very basic.
It was you felt the
Yeah.
experience of what the dude was glass, what the guy was going through.
This just shows you can tell a story about, you can make a film about
You see?
anything if you make it right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a striving cinematographer out there, watch this film. It's not an ordinary film. It's the choice of lens that they used, the fact that they shot in natural daylight. Well, at least you didn't have like a lighting guy, so you didn't have to hire anybody there for the lights. You know. So,
Imagine getting lights there.
but that was a choice. They knew,
Yeah.
okay, natural, and it was good. I mean, there were parts where there was only firelight. I was just like,
I know the only time
Yes.
they did lights was the one time they were filming and the wind was just so bad that it kept blowing the fire out. So eventually what they did, because they had to, they just put bulbs around the fire so that it emitted that. But that was
You
the
see?
only form of like artificial lighting.
Yeah.
The rest of it was natural.
but it's a choice that they make to tell a story. It was like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
So next week, don't worry.
Next week we'll come back with something less traumatic.
Yeah, maybe we'll go something more fairy tale.
There we go. We'll be like, guys, it's a feel-good movie.
Princes with sparkles, and the CGI, and there were over 700 sparkling stars used in this film, which
Wow.
the CG team worked tirelessly
On.
night and day, 9 months with no family because they were trying to get
And
sparkles
this film
across the screen.
sucks compared to The Revenant. I'm joking.
Oh yeah, and last thing, the sound was also very good.
Yeah,
Like,
the sound,
you
the
heard the water,
breathing.
you heard everything.
What does The Revenant mean, actually?
I was actually going to ask you that. Why the Revenant?
I'm searching. Don't worry.
Revenant.
Revenant means a person who has returned, especially supposedly from the dead.
Right, and with that said,
And with that said and done,
with that said,
peace.
till next week.